judging from what we've seen at the end of the formation lap, I think we're going to be in for some very inspirational driving for the Singapore Grand Prix in the Mckeon division.
And they're off.
Here we go. We're off. And Crowding gets a very good start from pole position. Ogwin is a little bit under pressure from Elite Risk, and Turner as well going through the first 3 corners. Turner looks to try and overtake the Alfa Romeo on the hard compound tyres, and it looks like the Alpine has pushed his way through, and he has. He's up into P3. Andres is side by side with Roller going down the boulevard in Singapore towards turn 7. It is Crowding in the lead, Ogwin second, Turner third, and it looks like Andres has taken 6th place, but Roller gets a nice switchback, and he's having a little look at turn 8, but he thinks better of it and backs out for the time being. But Crowding, Mercs, with a perfect start.
Yeah, and Turner is right at the back, so 4 drivers picked the medium tyres, and Turner has used them to great effect, and he's hounding the back of the Aston Martin driver as we go through the end of the middle sector, and it looks like Corey is the one who's really lost out. He's just dropped down a couple of positions down to 5th place at the moment, but Crowding, like you say, is doing very well indeed, and he's got a comfortable gap at the moment out front, as Andres is the first driver to drop out of DRS, so maybe we'll start to see a couple of trains start to form, but obviously we know that it is very difficult to overtake here with the high wings, and you just need to set it up rightly, almost hoping for a mistake from your competitor. It's Crowding who sets the fastest lap. He's only 5/10 clear from Ogwin. Then comes Turner in 3rd. Elite Risk stays 4th. Then comes Corey in 5th. Andres in 6th. Race Roller 7th. Quattro 8th. Ditto 9th. Paraquix 10th. Brian 11th. Sem in 12th. And they're all fairly close together. But here comes W. Turner right on the back of Ogwin. And I think he's going to make the move here, Simba.
Oh, here he goes. I think he's done it. Yes, he has. Turner's made the move. I almost missed it somehow, but there you go. Turner using those mediums to good effect. It's up into 2nd place in this Singapore Grand Prix, and that's exactly what he needs to do at this stage of the race. And I've just looked at the move just now. It was a very, really bold move on the inside. He trusted Ogwin to give him enough space as he was so close to the wall as Turner. He's doing what he needs to do here, Merckx. He needs to be aggressive at this stage of the race, as he's the lead medium runner so far.
Yeah, there is a crash, and that is BRT Brian, and that is a VSC, as there's no safety car coming out of the pits. So VSC, there's no bunch in the backup, not that they need to be bunched up, but BRT Brian has crashed down at the Anderson Bridge. And that is our first retiree from this session. The car gets cleared away, and we should be underway shortly. Now it's going to be about who can get that green flag right, and will we see the packs just spread out slightly. Ogwin actually fallen off before this. He was about 8-9 tenths back from Turner, so we'll see how that ends up on the restart. But yeah, Elite Risk was right up the back, as well as Paraquix has come into the pits.
Pretty interesting. For his sake, the VSC doesn't just suddenly end at this point, because if it does, it's not going to be looking great for him for the rest of the Grand Prix, being a pit stop behind.
The front wing change it is for the Alfa Romeo driver, as we look back at the rest of the field. So you thought the front wing change was the best time to do it, and the VSC is still out, so this is like the longest VSC ever at the moment in a F1 game. I know in real life it lasted a while, but in this game it's a drive-through penalty. I mean, that is adding insult to injuries. Just come in to change his wing, and now he's sped under VSC. We go again though, green flag racing, and W. Turner is right on the back of Crowding, as he was before. Ogwin just about holding on. Corey right on the back of the Alfa Romeo as well, and they're just stringing out at the back. Turner coming again, but not close enough to make a move.
Yeah, but I definitely think he's sizing up a move. He's definitely biding his time here. Is W Turner. He knows he's going to be quicker at this stage of the race, as the medium tyres are so much quicker than the hard tyre. But yeah, Corey right behind Elite Risks, and the main thing is for Turner is he didn't lose out on DRS when the VSC ended. So he did a good job staying within that 1 second window and not losing too much time to the Ferrari. And now that has enabled him to go for the race lead with a little bit of help from DRS, as Andres unfortunately doesn't have it, and that's Quattro in the background spinning round at the last corner, and that is a huge disaster for him. But luckily for him, Paraquix has had insult to the wounds of the Alfa Romeo, so he drops down to P10, but he's still in a points paying position on his Mckeon debut.
Yeah, not good for Quattro. Good spot in the background there. I think I missed that one. What was it? And I just saw him go down the order. Fastest first sector for W Turner. Not surprising, soon he's well in the DRS range and right up the back of crowding. But this is kind of a trait of this circuit where you don't have as much of speed with the wings in a straight line, so you're kind of hoping to be a little bit closer, a little bit like Hungary and Monaco in that way, where you just are too far back. But he is trying as W Turner. He's in the slipstream, but 3/10 back is too far back to make a dive bomb in that short of a braking zone.
Yeah, so I think for Risks and Corey, I think even Ogwin, if Ogwin, this is kind of crucial to his race, because if he drops out of that 1 second window from Turner, he's going to be in big trouble from Risks and Corey. And as we both saw earlier in the VFD restart, Corey was really looking at the back of Risks. So if Ogwin can't stay within DRS, he's going to be within a world of trouble, because he needs to keep tabs with crowding, because he's effectively on the same strategy as the championship leader, but he has to prioritise the championship as well, because his main rival isn't racing here today.
Yeah, so fastest laps left, right and centre. Andres, I believe, picked up the fastest lap in the end, as they're all in a train at the moment. And here DRS is open once again, but he's not using any of his ERS. He's too far back, and this track is also a bit of an ERS killer as well. It's very hard to actually recuperate that, so you've got to be tactical with how you overtake. And Ogwin has just made a mistake behind, and at the moment he's outside of DRS range, so this is a crucial few corners for our championship leader. And can he get himself back in DRS range? Looks like he might have been able to. It's going to be touch and go. Section point right here, and he's just about 9/10 back. So a brief scare for Ogwin, but kind of shows that maybe he's in a little bit of trouble at the moment.
Yeah, so Ogwin, close call there. It's always, I always hate it when you're trying to get in, you're trying to stay within the 1 second range of someone, and you see the gap at like 0.9 seconds, and you know that you're in trouble if you make one more little error, and that's it, you're out of DRS. So Ogwin with a bit of a scare, but he's just keeping in range at the minute, and he seems a little bit stronger than Turner in the third sector. He's gained about a 10th there through this section of the lap. Turner's still biding his time on the medium tyres. He knows he doesn't have to rush anything. He doesn't need to make any unnecessary risks. He's struggled to finish races this season for various reasons. Very unfortunate, because he's pretty quick on his day. And that's exactly what he's proving here in Singapore. Currently P2 and just a few tenths off the race leader. So let's see if he's going to try and make the move. He's using the overtake. He's actually draining the battery here. Is he going to have a look into turn 7? He's better off it, but he's so close to the Ferrari. Surely, Murs, he's got to make the move now.
It seems like now or never at the moment. Oh, as crowding makes a mistake on the exit of turn 9, and that might have invited Turner and might make him a little bit more hungry to make the move as he tries to get his rival, tries to set up his rival for an overtake. Yellow flag in sector 1, and that is Quattro. Going slow, but he's got going again very quickly. So a brief yellow flag, and he stays behind. Does turn up. He's getting there. But the rest of the pack are kind of just trying to stay with him. There's another yellow flag, and that is Paraquix. Spun off again, and hopefully he doesn't get in the way of these drivers. Picks up a 3-second time penalty for good measure. And he comes into the pits. Yeah, he's come into the pits. Sped into the pit lane as Turner is really pushing hard. He's right up the gearbox. He doesn't want to get too close and just might get a little bit of dirty air to put him off. And he's pushing him around turn 3. And now as we come up to turn 5, crucial to get a good exit out of here. It goes wide, does Crowding, trying to get a good exit, pushing him around, and surely this is the time for Turner to make the move. He's right up the back of the Ferrari. He's got the DRS open. Is he going to go down the inside? He is going to have a nose down the inside, so side by side through there. Oh, it's fit through. Crowding goes wide, and now Turner's going to try and go around the outside. Even more wheel bagging. Just squeeze into the wall, mate. A bit more contact. Turner's got his nose in. Even more contact. No! Oh, no, he's out. He's out. He's out. Ogween is hitting. Ogween's got damage. Somehow that's only a VSC. Elite's got damage. Oh, it's all gone over. I think Ogween... I don't know if Ogween has got away with damage or not, but he's taken Turner out, well, by pure accident, really.
Oh no! It's happened again. W. Turner will not finish a race in Mckeon this season. He's left the session. He's had enough. He's absolutely furious. Another incident between himself and the Ferrari of Crowding. If you remember back to Silverstone, that's exactly what happened as well. You know, Turner making an error or getting a little bit heated in the moment of combat, but I don't know what happened there, but you'll argue that Crowding was a bit over-aggressive there.
Yeah, I'd say it was all fair, really. I mean, there were kind of 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. Ogween does come into the pit lane, so it does suggest that he did pick up damage, and I'm not surprised because he absolutely clouted the front left tyre as DRS is enabled as a double whammy for Ogween and Elite. And that's 2 of the main runners forced back in this race. Well, 3 of the main runners, really, because W. Turner is out. So it's Corey, Andres, Raystroller, Jitto, Sem, kind of in a group. Jitto and Sem in a group of their own at the moment, but if Jitto can move up, that will aid his race. But Crowding leads by 2.4 seconds after second VSC of this race. Had an incident with Turner just at that corner we've just passed, and Turner found himself out of the race after Ogween came through and couldn't get out of the way and made contact and ripped his tyre off. Then Elite came through and lost his wing as well, trying to get out of the way. Yeah, that's kind of spread the pack out now, and can Corey try and close up? It's kind of a bit of a slog now between these two for the rest of this stint, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think now this, you know, you've got to be playing it tactical now. Corey, I think the main priority is just keeping Andres out of DRS and seeing if you could just just solely focus on the Ferrari that is 2 seconds in front. But I think Elite Risk is going to be the angriest out of the bunch of them, because literally he couldn't go anywhere. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. It was very unfortunate to be right behind Ogween as soon as that incident happened, and that's ruined his race as well. So, like you said earlier, 2 of the main runners could be out of the running if there's not another safety car. And Ogween, yeah, again, he couldn't do much about that incident either. He just absolutely battered the front left for Turner's car, and that was game, set, and match for the Alpine.
A little bit of a wiggle on for Crowding, showing those tyres are starting to go, but we're only on lap 9 of this race. We had 2 VSCs already. Yeah, those medium, they'll all have to stop again, because there's no way those mediums will goes to the end, and even if they tried to go to the end, they wouldn't go to the end competitively. So yeah, they're going to have to stop again and hope, like you say, for a safety car. We're down to 9 runners in this race. The gap is 2 seconds out front. It's little by little is closing down is Corey, and he is bringing along Andres and Rachel ever so slightly. Jitto's just dropped off the back of the Red Bull, and Andres and Rachel are not out of it at all at the moment. So especially if Crowning and Corey get into a little bit of a battle before the pit stop phase, we might still see a 4-way scrap, maybe even a 6-way scrap still for the race win. Definitely for the podium places. Any of those 6 drivers at this moment could finish on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. It's not over. We're only 9 laps in, and Corey's actually starting to reel in Crowning quite a bit. The gap's down now to 1.7 seconds, so Crowning's lost at least half a second, or just maybe more than that, in this lap alone. So Corey starting to reel in the Ferrari, and it's got to be mentioned here. Crowning doesn't have as much battery as Corey, because remember he was defending from Turner just a few laps ago before the VSC was called out. So Ogwin sets the fastest lap. He's quite a way back in P7. It feels pretty rare to say that this season, considering how good Ogwin's been. But
yeah, there's a bit of a shame, but he's still
oh,
in this
Roller's
race.
round.
Oh, and Race Arola has gone off, and that's put him right to the back of this group of cars, and he's a little bit on his own at the moment. So just missed that in behind, but it's not very good for the Red Bull driver. He's now 2.5 seconds off Sem. Jitto now about 3 seconds back from Andres, so it's really leaving Crowding. Corey, Andres is your main 3, and the rest kind of a supporting act, and Ogwin trying to charge back to catch up, but that is a long way to catch up.
Definitely is. And the thing that's going to hurt Roland the worst is now he's in Ogwin's pit, he's in his pit break, he's in his pit window. So when Roller pits, he's in danger of coming out behind Ogwin and maybe even Elite Risks as well with that spin. So he might not even be thinking about fighting the guys in front of him. He's in the pits now, actually. He's had enough of those medium tyres. I think that spin might have just destroyed the life out of them. So there you go. Roller in the pits, and he's going to be the first of the medium runners to pit onto the hard tyres. So we'll see if he can come out ahead of Ogwin.
The hard tyres go on, and there's Ogwin coming down and Elite, so it looks like he's going to get beaten by them. And as he goes past, there goes Elite. So he's going to come back out in this race in P8 at the moment. Back to the front, and Andres is definitely keeping Corey honest. So Andres got pace. Corey has definitely got pace as he's closed that gap, and Crowding just starting to struggle a little bit out front. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for this. And at the moment, my Haas hat is shining brightly as they're currently in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, my Alfa Romeo hat was instantly ripped off my head. The minute I saw Elite Risks in the pits as well with Ogwin, but obviously no bias. So,
No.
yeah, none of that. Come on, Max.
No, but Sem is keeping Jitto honest, and I mean, I probably will say no more on that because the commentator's curse will probably strike him if I keep talking. So yeah, we'll see. But Corey's doing particularly well at closing this gap, and Andres is doing well at staying with him. Jitto dropping off, and Sem, as I say that, has just made a mistake.
Sem, no!
I mean, it is the commentator's curse of all time. As he comes into the pit lane because he has to put on those hard compound tyres. I mean, I don't think I should talk anymore. But Corey's just missed out on the detection point, the DRS. He might think he'd have DRS on the next lap. So Jitto is all on his own now that Sem has gone. But
luckily for him, he hasn't, he hasn't damaged his front wing. But
no. But
quite a
that's
disaster.
lost him several seconds in this race. Especially in his battle with Jitto, that was really his main rival in this race. But the top three almost will have DRS. Andres is kind of flicking in and out of the DRS range. Corey's got the rear wing open though, and the Haas driver hasn't, but he's there or thereabouts. So if these two start coming to blows at some point towards the end of this stint, then he could be there to pick up the pieces. But it's a Ferrari, then a Williams, then a Haas. 1, 2 and 3, and Andres has spun round. As I say that, Andres has gone round and he is now overtaken by his teammate. And it just seems like the tyres are going left, right and centre for everyone, and there's spins going on, and now it's... Well, and then there were two at the moment. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, well, there you go. It is truly becoming a race of attrition here. We've seen quite a number of big profile moments in the last few laps. But right now, you said to keep your eyes on Corey. He is in Crowding's DRS range. The gap is less than 1 second at the detection point, and the rear wing has been opened by the Williams. SLR Corey has managed to brilliantly whittle down the gap to the Ferrari driver, and he's in with a good chance of overtaking him, maybe just before these guys pit, which will be a vital point of this Grand Prix.
There's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass, as we saw between Turner and Crowding in the earlier laps of this race. Crowding will put up a good defence if he needs it, but the gap is still under 1 second, so he'll get another helping of DRS down this straight here. But Crowding at the moment has been at the front the whole race, so he has not been overtaken, not really. I mean, you can't really class Turner as getting past him because he didn't quite. So at the moment, Crowding has led he definitely has led every single lap. That's for free. So, but he's coming under pressure from the Williams driver. Andres is recapturing his teammate and might overtake him. Well, definitely will overtake him soon enough, because Ditto's tyres will wear off and he might be coming into the pits fairly soon. There is an Alpha Tauri spun off at the Anderson Bridge, and now Sem is doing a 3-point turn over there, and he's lost his front wing. Jitto comes into the pits as well. As that happens, he was probably hoping for a safety car right at that time, but the Alpha Tauri has no front wing.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Seb. All he needs to do is just get to the end of this Grand Prix, and he'll finally score some points, some much needed points. And actually, hang on a second,
He's gone off again.
He's gone off again.
He's gone straight up. Oh my word! Donuts for the end of the season, Sem, and he's going to get lapped. The more he does that, then he'll still have to come into the pits as well. So it looks like Sem is going to end up getting lapped in this race, unfortunately for him. But the front two still just trading blows at the moment. And Corey still has DRS as Jitto comes out with Race Roller. Race Roller gets past because he has the warmer tyres, and Jitto will have to settle in behind and try and overtake him at the hard way. Sem has retired.
What?
Going into the pits by the looks of it. Nothing is coming out just yet. Looks like everyone is safe. But Sem has retired coming into the pits. And then there were 8. As we're not even at half race distance yet.
That has to be one of the most depressing things I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie. He's really struggled to finish races as Sem. And he practices so much for these races. And it just never seems like he can actually have the look of finishing one. And this is another one to add to his collection this season. And, there were 9 cars I really don't understand it, but no further comment as Corey is edging ever closer to the back of Crowding, just zero point 0.5 of a second behind now. And this is a really crucial part of the Grand Prix here, Mercs, because these guys, they've got to think about pitting soon, especially with Ogween being quite a way back. So they might have to end up contesting with the Aston Martin right after they come out of the pits.
Yeah, the only saving grace for them is that Ogween's tyres will start to fade. He's about 20 seconds back from this pair. So they will come out behind at the moment, such to Ogween's pace. But those tyres will drop off. But yeah, still within a chance of a podium if Andres does falter once again. But Andres does have that podium position still. For the moment, all on his own in P3, but our eyes are peeled on the main battle of this race, and that is for first place, thankfully. It is an event still for number one, as Corey gets ever closer. Under 6/10 the gap now gets, but you do need to be probably within at least a couple of tenths, 3/10 coming out of turn 5 to try and make a move. Providing they both get a good exit as Crowding goes wide and picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that might come in to play towards the end of the race, but we've only gone, well, about half race distance. Midway through this lap will be at half race distance, so there is a long way to go, but that is not helpful at all.
No, it's not, and especially with the fact that Corey's right behind him. It's not like he had that 2-second lead like he did at least 3-4 laps ago. So Crowding really playing himself between a rock and a hard place at the minute with that 3-second time penalty. He's also got to factor in Ogween as well. You know, how quick is he going to be at the end of this Grand Prix? How quick is Elite Risk going to be at the end of this Grand Prix? Because those guys definitely have to stop again. So Corey, with a bit less pressure on his shoulders now, he knows he's in a net P1, but knowing Corey, he probably wants to win this race on the track, not because of a penalty. So let's see if Corey can get the job done. He's been waiting patiently for the right moment for quite a couple of laps now since he's got into his DRS. So is he going to continue playing the long game and waiting for the eventual moment to strike, or is he just going to absolutely go for it?
Yeah, well, he's got to buy his time probably, because just the nature of the track really, just like the understeer worthy as he kind of fakes going into the pit lane there, does Corey. So he's thinking about pit stops. We do have another 15 laps to go, including this lap. So yeah, it'll be a long way on those medium tyres, probably slightly longer than you would ideally want. So you probably want about 12, maybe 13 laps. So maybe lap 19, 18 at a push. Maybe you might see him in this lap. We'll have to wait and see, but that is 14 laps on those tyres, and they can definitely do it. It's just whether they will do it competitively. An overcut and undercut as well. That will be interesting to see which one will work, or will they just pit at the same time?
Yeah, definitely strategy is going to play a key role in this battle for the race lead. You saw Corey at the end of the last lap tease a move into the pit lane, so he's already thinking about pitting very, very soon, as he's really, really close to the Ferrari, almost pushing him through the Anderson hairpin. He comes through the middle, well, towards the third sector actually. Crowding still on 30% ERS, Corey on 49. There's only a 20% difference with the battery, and knowing on this game is so crucial to save and harvest. The ERS is especially hard to do with higher wings. So yeah, Corey definitely having things to his advantage, and Crowding is in the pits.
He does come in. Let's see if he gets it to slow down nicely. He does. So it was do whatever he doesn't do out front, and it should be a nice clean stop. which it is, gets away nicely. So, all eyes on where he comes out. Ogween coming around the final corner now. And he will come out behind. Let's have a look back at Elite Risk. This could be close here. And I think, well, he's come out behind as well. So he's going to have to overtake the Alfa Romeo and the Aston Martin Simba. He is on nice fresh tyres. So you would think that should be fairly easy. His battle really is with our race leader now, SLR Corey.
Yeah, so this is a crucial lap for Crowding. He wants to go through the cold tyre process first, which means Corey's going to have to do it by the time he pits. So Crowding shooting the first shot really with a pit stop strategy. Further back, Chitto and Roller are really going at it for P6 here.
Race Roller tries to go around the outside, right towards the wall, and Jitto has made the overtake, pitted about 4 or 5 laps to go, and has finally got past his rival of Race Roller, and he makes his way up into 6th place. Very nice move for the Haas driver. So then Corey coming up towards the pit lane, and he carries on.
He's carrying on.
Crowding is set to fastest middle sector. So is he trying to play the tyre game? He did have more pace on the same tyres. So is this a tactical mindset to have fresher tyres at the end of the race, to have a little bit of an offset, as it's another fastest sector for Crowding, and he's going to have to make this move as soon as possible on Elite Risk. I wonder if this is tactical play for Corey to have an offset. So those last couple of laps where the tyres are struggling, as Elite picks up a 3-second time penalty, he can attack. Obviously the 3-second time penalty might have come into his thought process as well, as Crowding goes around the outside, gets the head before the braking zone, and he's setting purple sector after purple sector at the moment, and those tyres are warming up very nicely for the Ferrari driver. So we'll see how much longer Corey carries on, but he knows he's got, at the moment, not exceed track limits 3 times, and try and stay within 3 seconds, and the race is his.
Yeah, I don't really know what his thought process is with staying out the extra lap, especially knowing that, you pointed out that
another purple sector for Crowding.
See what I mean? Like, Crowding's absolutely flying right now, so surely Corey's going to lose at least 2-3 seconds.
He's in there
by just staying out the extra lap. It just didn't really add up to me. But well, let's see what happens here. He's in the pits. He hasn't stayed in the pit lane
as well. So Ogween will come across the line. He will lead the race. Won't lead that lap, but he will be in the lead. 1:39.2. Crowding will move himself up to second. Corey will come out behind Elite, as would be expected. But he is a long way back. Now it's about, can he get within 3 seconds, and can he close the gap? As Andres comes out right behind his teammates and Race Roller, who are in a battle now for P5. But Andres should post up to the back of those.
I'm really baffled at Corey's choice of strategy here. I think he's now, what?
8.3
seconds? 8 seconds back?
Almost 9 seconds back at the moment.
Yeah, and
unless he knows something that we don't. But like we say, he'd managed to reel in a 2.5 second gap quite comfortably in the space of about 3 or 4 laps. So maybe he thinks he's got the pace with younger tyres.
We'll find out. He's got a 39.2 to beat, as Crowding is really going for it here for the Singapore circuit. He's used up quite a bit of ERS as well, so he's definitely been pushing over the last couple of laps. And he's got a huge lead over his main rival, which is SLR Corey. He's got the championship leader just ahead of him. And he'll find it quite strange knowing that, you know, it's not for track position. Ogwin might definitely needs to stop again.
Well,
I don't
he doesn't have to stop again in regulations, but his tyres might be a little bit second-hand come the end of this race. So we'll have to wait and see. I think he might just try and stick it out because he's got nothing to lose. Elite, though, has decided he's going to come into the pits and go for another stop.
He's had enough of those tyres. I don't think Ogwin would have thought he would have been leading the race after that collision with Turner and co. But, yep, risks. Putting on another set of mediums. Let's see what he can do towards the end of this Grand Prix as Andres gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits on those fresh mediums. He's trying to put them to good use. He's got his teammate and roller right ahead of him. And it's going to be a bit of a DRS train between these three drivers. So Andres might have to be a little bit patient if he wants to get past these two drivers in front of him and solidify P4. Meanwhile, Crowding is all over the back of Ogwin.
And he's going to have a look down the inside. This is a crucial phase of the race as Corey almost 8.5 seconds back. He needs to make a move. Ogwin is going to go defensive here. And he's forced him into the barrier, into the Armco. Crowding has still got his nose here up the inside. Now going to turn to the outside. He's going to try and go right around the outside. A little bit of contact between those two drivers. Still more contact. And Ogwin is making his car as wide as he possibly can. And he stays in the lead of this race. And maybe Simba is trying to defend his P1 position.
Well, it's safe to say that he's defending like a lion to keep the P1. I don't know how on earth they did not collide there, but Ogwin maintains the lead for the time being as Crowding. He's so desperate to get this move done because he knows Corey's right behind him on a fresh set of medium tyres. I'm just going to check what Corey's last lap was.
Yeah, the gap.
It was a 40.0.
Interestingly, has come down by about 2 seconds in the last lap. Here comes Crowding once again. Is Ogwin going to go defensive? He is going to go defensive to the inside. Does Crowding have a bit more grip to go right round the outside? He does. It's a very nice move for the Ferrari driver as Race Roller has gone round once again. I don't know if there was any contact involved in that, but he has spun round and he's lost the position to Andres. He's now down to P6 and well within the clutches of Elite Risk as Quattro sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, so good stuff there from Quattro, saying the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on those fresh medium tyres in his Mckeon debut. Currently in a very lonely 8th place, last of the running cars, but I don't think he'd care a dot. Scoring points in the Mckeon division, it's very, very tough to do so, you know, and sometimes it's part of the game. It doesn't matter how you score points, it's just a matter of scoring them, really. As Corey just 5 seconds behind Ogwin now, just 5.8 seconds behind Crowding. So he's got another 3 seconds to make up, and he's on those fresher tyres. So we could be in for a bit of a grandstand finish here between Corey and Crowding, despite the gap being significantly larger than it was a couple of laps ago.
As Ogwin does finally come into the pits. He tried, but yeah, like I say, he was going to have to come to the pits as Andres almost drives into the wall, but looks like he's going to get past his teammate here fairly shortly. And another set of the medium tyres for the Aston Martin driver, and where he's going to come out in relation to Elite Risks. It's going to be fairly close. Keep an eye on the mini-map, and Elite Risk is going to come steaming round first couple of corners, and he's right behind his Elite Risk. But first, on board with VRA Andres, and he's not going to overtake his teammate, so back towards Elite Risk as he is in the wheel tracks. Does have that 3 second time penalty, but maybe he wants to try and take the track position, but he's not going to get close enough. So he's going to have to stalk the back of the Aston Martin gearbox as Corey continues to go close the gap ever so slightly. Gap now down to 5.2 seconds. If he finishes within 3 seconds and doesn't pick up a penalty, he will win this race, but still a long way to go. On lap 23, towards the end of lap 23, we have 8 laps to go. Once Crowding crosses the line and the gap is under 5 seconds, so maybe that choice to pit a couple of laps later is starting to pay off.
Seems like it is. I mean, I didn't think it was initially going to work. I questioned it as on board with Andres cruising P4 right behind his teammate Chito, who pitted on those hard tyres 9 laps ago. Andres on tyres that are 6 laps fresher than his teammate. I don't imagine these guys would want to throw away an opportunity for a podium, but then again, you know, they're both drivers, they're both racers, they both want to fight each other for the best possible points. This is for a podium, so how do you think this will play out? You know, you're a Haas driver, so
just don't run into each other. Just, you know, Andres is on the quicker tyre. It makes sense really to hold. Well, yeah, we'll see. I say hold position, but it's up to them really. They've got a healthy gap, but Jitto is also making a few mistakes as they're costing each other time really, and Andres with the time penalty can't really afford to lose time to the likes of, well, Ogwin, who has just got past Race Roller and Elite Risk. Ooh, we almost hit the back of him, but the gap is just over 8 seconds between those two, so Ogwin needs to gain about 5 seconds, so that could be close, but we'll have a see. We'll have to wait and see, as there goes Andres round the outside, and he has made the move. Very respectful from the 2 Haas drivers, and Elite Risk is going side by side with the Red Bull.
oh, Jitto spun!
Oh no, Jitto. Oh no. And Jitto has spun just after being overtaken by his teammate. So close to the end, and now he could drop all the way back to the back of the pack. As Race Roller picks up a time penalty. But yeah, these hard tyres not suiting Jitto at the moment. Gap out front is 4.4 seconds. You have a yellow flag. Andres has spun. Oh no, it's a Christmas tree. I have no words. Ogwin is going to find himself in a podium position after all this. Like you said before, a race of attrition, and well, that has come to fruition right here. So Elite Risk is going to try and go right round the outside of Jitto, forces him off the road, and he keeps his nose in to go down the inside. A little bit more contact, goes towards the wall. Does Jitto? Jitto's still there on the inside. Elite Risk goes right round the outside, so thank you very much. And that is P5 on the road for the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, Elite Risks, you know, great move there. I mean, he had to muscle his way through there. He had to be quite aggressive, but I think he'll be a little bit frustrated knowing that he could have been a little bit closer. He's lost the rear there, and Roller's lost the rear in the background as well. It's all happening here in the closing stages of the Singapore Grand Prix. But somehow SLR Ogwin, despite having that contact with Turner, he's found himself in the podium places with just 6 laps to go.
It has been a little bit eventful. They're not the cleanest races from all the drivers, I have to say, but through no fault of his own, Ogwin got forced back, so did Elite Risk, and they're trying to fight their way back through the pack as Jitto settled himself now in 6th place, and what was a comfortable 3 and 4 for Haas has now turned into a more tricky 4 and 6. Gap out front now below 4 seconds. It's 3.7 to be exact, and the gap is closing ever so slightly each lap, and you just feel it is a matter of when, not if, he gets into that 3-second window.
Yeah, Corey definitely making this work at the moment. Crowding doesn't have much ERS to work with, neither does Corey. It seems like no one has any sort of ERA to work with. in the closing stages of this Grand Prix. It's been quite an eventful race.
Yeah, it looks like, well, yeah. Along with this track being a fuel killer, it's certainly an ERS killer, especially with the higher wings, of course. Lots of downforce needed as he comes round the final corners, and it is now 3.3 is the gap. That's another 4/10 he's gained on crowding, and with 5 laps to go in this race, it has been, well, he went backwards off the start, did Corey, a couple of positions, and crowding has led this race for a long period of time. There's only been a few laps where he hasn't led the race, and he certainly seems to deserve, he might get that P1 on the road, but I think he's kind of just praying at this point that Corey picks up a time penalty.
Yeah, and the crucial thing is for crowding is he's one warning away from getting 6 seconds worth of penalties, and now he's trying to keep this Ferrari on the track. You know, he's led the majority of this Grand Prix, and that's race roller again, and he's lost his front wing.
It's good news if you're Quattro, as that's another position about to come his way. And there you go, race roller goes miles off the track. Now he is plumb last, but yeah, he's got to try and not do what Sem did and put it in the wall with no front wing. Easier said than done. But yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen, because if he brought out a safety car in the last lap possible, then that would make it a little bit interesting. Gap's actually gone back up over 3 seconds, interesting enough, but it's kind of hovering around that 3 second mark. So does crowding have a little bit of extra pace? Does Corey have the minerals to hold on to a race win that he's trying to earn? It is so close at the moment on this lap, but you just feel that Corey has the edge, as he did at the end of the first stint on the hard compound tyres. Is it going to be the same tail, or does crowding have a little bit more pace in the lockup to try and keep that gap over 3 seconds and stay within track limits? It's going to be oh so close at the moment, as the gap keeps changing between 2.9 and 3 seconds, and the gap's just come down a little bit further now, but it's just one mistake could do it, anything really. Just about 3 and a bit laps to go. It's advantage to SLR Corey.
Yeah, this is going to be really nail-biting stuff towards the end of the Grand Prix. I thought he hit the wall going into the Anderson hairpin. If that's the corner name, if I'm not mistaken. Is that Anderson?
Oh, the hairpin after the Anderson Bridge.
After the Anderson Bridge. Why not the hairpin? Wait, heck. Brilliant stuff. Oh, Corey's had a slide at turn 21.
I've just spotted that. I was on board with, just off board with crowding, and I've just seen in the background Corey comes sliding through. That's made this a little bit more interesting. And this now 3.3 seconds gap. He was just lost about 6-7 tenths of a second just from that 1 mistake, and he's still trying to keep control of the car with a few laps to go. It is a few tenths in it to the end of this race. It's a grandstand finish, like you say, but not maybe in the way that we were expecting. They're not really close to each other on track. Crowding does have the pace just about over Corey across the whole race, but there is time penalties to add on, and it is getting a little bit hot under the collar for both of these drivers. And well, with that slide coming out of turn 21, I don't know who's going to take this at the moment.
It's going to be really, really hard to tell. Corey might be pushing just a little bit too hard at this stage of the Grand Prix. He's still just outside that 3 second range. 3.1 seconds but Crowding is giving it everything, draining the battery of the exit of turn 14, I think that is. So he really wants to win this race. They've both got no ERS. The only difference is the tyre advantage, which belongs to SLR Corey. 2-lap pressure tyres. But it just seems that he might have just been pushing on those tyres a little bit too much, and Crowding might just have a little bit more life in the tyres. He might have a bit more life in the locker here. As we start lap 30, what is the gap across the line? It is just over 3.1. 1/10 away from claiming a race win with SLR Corey. This is going to be great. This is going to be a great finish here.
The nerves are going, oh, and Crowding picks up a 3-second time penalty. And just as it looked like it was getting oh so close, it's now just trickled away from the Ferrari driver. And all Corey needs to do now really is just keep it on the track with some solid pace, and he will take home a deserved victory in the end. They both deserve it out front. Really, either one of them haven't particularly put a foot wrong. It's only Crowding who's taken liberties with the track limits, and unfortunately, no matter what he does, unless Corey picks up a time penalty, it looks like it's going to go Corey's way, and the gap is 2.8 with a lap and a half to go.
I think I jinxed him. Literally like 10 seconds before. So I thought this is going to be a great finish. And all of a sudden, Crowding gets a penalty. So, sorry, Crowding. I think I jinxed you, mate. I think I jinxed you as Andres.
Oh, Andres has gone off. Is that any wing damage? Doesn't look obvious wing damage. But that's going to be resigned to a 5th and a 6th for the Haas duo, who were in 3rd and 4th. At one point in this race. We are on to the final lap, and well, Crowding has led lots of this race. Corey hasn't even led one single lap at all, but it looks like he's going to take the first place as he crosses the line. As the gap's now 2 seconds, and it looks like Crowding has maybe given up the ghost here and resigned himself to a 2nd place finish. He definitely deserved, they both deserved a 1st place, but it's going to be 2nd place unless anything dramatic happens on this final lap, which I wouldn't put it past it to happen. But these two have been fairly nailed on for the whole race. They've given us a show, while others have faltered in behind. As we go over the Anderson Bridge and onto the DRS straight, you can see these two within 2 seconds of each other into the final sector. It's going to be SLR Corey who will take another win in this season. Ogween will round out the podium somehow after his early contact, so he's battled his way back through. But we come through the final sector. The Ferrari has been dominant, but it's going to be track limits that will falter his day. So it's going to be all about the Williams driver SLR Corey, who hasn't put a foot wrong, and he's going to come across the line. Is Crowding to take the checkered flag, but it's going to be Corey who wins the Singapore Grand Prix in the Mckeon division, and he takes the race a long way back. Will come Ogween. Crowding will have to settle for 2nd place. Ogween takes a spectacular podium and will come across the line now, and there it is. It's 3rd place for the Aston Martin driver. It's an Alfa Romeo Elite risk. He's battled back to 4th place in this race. Andres will come home to finish 5th as he spins round the final corner. Will Jitto overtake him? No, he won't. He DNFs. Takes off his wheel, but he had crossed the line. And then come the Alpha Tauri of Quattro on his debut. He will finish 7th. These fireworks are very loud in my ear as they're battling for fastest lap, were Quattro and Racer. I didn't quite see who got it in the end. It was Race Roller, who will take the fastest lap, Crowding across the line. Quattro across the line in 7th, and we wait for the Red Bull of Race Roller. But Simba, I think it was obviously a little bit anticlimactic in the end, but very good race from the front 2 drivers.
Absolutely. These two were definitely the class of the field. And I think the main thing here is, Max, I think he took your advice before the start of the Grand Prix. He didn't make any mistakes, and that really was key in a Grand Prix where so many people ended up crashing out, spinning out, or, getting a penalty at the crucial time. He simply didn't put a foot wrong, and that is his first win since Canada. 6 races without a Grand Prix victory for SLR Corey. That winless streak ends here under the floodlights in Singapore. And that is a very well-deserved 25 points. Definitely one of his best drives this season. I think it might be one of his best drives ever. I don't know, we'll have to hear from him afterwards.
Maybe it's a bit of a tight and twisty circuit merchant. He loves a bit of an Imola, which is nice and tight and twisty. Canada's a street circuit. Singapore's a street circuit. We're trying to sensing a trend here, but he's done very well as Corey to take the win after dropping back at the start. An extra point for Race Roller and Ogween. He extends his gap in the championship to 55 points at the top. And with 4 races to go plus a sprint, it's one of the bit hands maybe, on the trophy for Ogween in the title, but today the plaudits will go to the Williams driver of SLR Corey, who won the race. We're waiting for Ogween to join the party, I do believe.
Yeah, he's just gone to get a drink. He'll be 1 minute.
What fraud, honestly.
Yeah, literally.
A drink, honestly. There he is. Right, Simba, do you want to start off with Ogween, and then, we'll do it that way.
Yeah, sure. No worries. All right, Ogween, championship leader. Congratulations. 3rd place. It didn't look like that was going to be the case with the contact with Turner. So just talk us through your race, because you had quite a bit to do to get on the podium.
Yeah, it was going pretty well until Crowden and Will had their little spin, and then I got damaged. So did Elite. So we had to do a 2-stop because we started hards, obviously. And we knew the win was gone, like, out of contention, because Crowden and Corey were so far ahead. So it was kind of just try to recover as best as I could, and I'm quite happy with a podium. I had pretty good pace on the mediums. On the hards, I was struggling a little bit, but yeah, I drove pretty perfectly, to be honest, on the mediums, and it was pretty decent.
Well, fair enough. That is another podium this season. Your consistency has been really impressive so far. Do you think the title is sealed, or do you think there's still a long way to go, despite there being 4 races left?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know where Jam was today. He just didn't respond and didn't join, which is yeah. So I don't want to say it's over and I've won yet, because I could just have 2 shit shows and crash out in 2 races, and he could win them both. So it's not over yet.
Yeah, a very mindful championship leader today, and we're going to move on to Merckx with Crowding P2.
So P2 finished for Crowding in the end, led the race a long time. I mean, how does it feel to finish second in the end, having led for the large majority of that race?
Realistically, very happy. I I was even surprised to get pole, to be honest. But yeah, clearly he's just managed to put a lap together. That was good enough. But yeah, I mean, what was it, second to last lap? Obviously picked up another pen, which kind of then threw it away. And then literally as I crossed the line to finish second to last lap, I forgot what lap it was. So I took my finger off the throttle, and I was then like, oh wait, I'm still fucking driving. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't swear. Oh god. I was like, I
let you
want to
off.
still keep driving. So yeah, that lost me what 8 tenths or whatever, and yeah, from then on I was just like, oh, I can't be bothered really. That last lap was just driving, trying not to crash. To be honest, but yeah, realistically, it was a decent result.
Yeah, well done on the drive. It was a really good watch between you and Corey. So yeah, well done. We move on to Simba to interview our race winner, SLR Corey.
Cheers, Max. Corey, you've won again. First win since Canada. Congratulations. How are you feeling about that one?
Took a while, yeah. Obviously I'm very happy about that. I think big credit to Ogwin as well, because he really did hold up crowding on that stint. So I don't think I would have got the win without that. So I'm definitely getting him a drink or something when we meet up. But qualifying didn't really go well for me. I kind of really did bottle, but I was surprised to be B3. But had a really poor start. I dropped behind Elite, which wasn't ideal. And then, as Ogwin said, Turner and Crowding had their little mishap. But yeah, I kind of got shafted on the strategy a bit. Someone told me to pit a bit later than I should have, and that kind of lost me time. But yeah, I'm happy overall in the end. And again, good way to potentially end the season for me, because I don't think I'm going to be top step towards the end of the season now, unfortunately.
Well, it's still a win, and a big 25 points. It's been a few rough races for you. So would this be a massive relief for you to get that top step again?
I mean, if I somehow win a race between now and the end of the season, I'll be absolutely delighted. I think probably best chance could maybe be Brazil, but I know a certain someone in here is also fairly quick at that track as well. So looking forward to Brazil next. That's my next favourite track.
Cheers, Corey. And hand over to Max for the outro, because he's the one streaming it. So
Yeah, all right. So yeah, that is it for the Mckeon division. Corey is our race winner. We have one more race which will 100% be streamed, and that is Div 1. Yeah. So we look forward to that. It's 7 p.m. Oh, 8 p.m. actually, I think now. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, 8 p.m.
One of those,
Yeah,
8 p.m. now. Nice mid-season change. Definitely wasn't expecting that, but yeah, that is the Mckeon race. Hopefully, people that watched it did enjoy it. I certainly enjoyed it alongside Simba, so I will see you all very soon. Good night.